Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 Rebuilding story from Helsingborg with me, Daniel. We're back today for part 4. We've got transfer deadline day. We've got the side that were second when we left off in the last episode. But let's be honest, it's going to be a very easy promotion this year. None of the other sides have really put up a fight, and despite dropping a few points, we are 12 points clear. The two pre-season favourites for promotion are in 6th and 8th after slight recoveries, and the side that were right on our coattails in second last time and our 7th having dropped points galore. So it looks like the first job is going to be done pretty easily. I'm hoping the top tier will be more of a challenge. If you're looking forward to finding out if we can bring anyone in, I'm not quite as panicked about it now given the situation because I'd rather go bigger in the summer. Then please do put a thumbs up on the video and subscribe down below for daily FM22 content. We're of course back tomorrow with Hemel Hempstead Town. You can find that series in the eye above. A massive thank you for the support on the podcast channel too, which has now passed 2,000 subscribers. We really do appreciate it. And you can also find links in the eye above to the Twitch channel and the merchandise store too. You can support the show as a channel member by clicking the join button down below. But thank you as always for your incredible support as we come back for what should be a relatively comfortable second half of the year. However, there is one thing that could go wrong, and that is to the right of the screen, because the finances are dipping massively. Now, I'm not too concerned at the moment because they got to that stage last year by the looks of things, and after the season ticket sales and a big spike there, we're then gradually going down. But at this rate, we're going to be really struggling come the end of the season, and I'm not sure what the jump is in finance to the top tier. We have got the Swedish Cup coming up, so maybe we can do something successful there. But otherwise, that's something I've got to keep an eye on. Maybe we just have to let one or two go. But for now, we've got to focus on the football. We've got to focus on deadline day. There is an awful lot for us to get through. Let's start, though, with the inbox, because there is a message that I didn't expect to see. It's something that pops up in other countries, but it hadn't occurred to me with the FA Cup in England. The opportunity for Helsingborg to buy home advantage against lower league opposition. If the match is switched, we have to pay £9,000, or we can make the offer to pay £9,000, but we would then get an extra 35 grand in revenue, which is shared out between the two clubs. Now, it's not something I'd normally do. I prefer the values of the cup, of playing basically how it's drawn, but I think in this situation, with our financial position, we probably have to go for it. So we're going to make an offer to buy the match, to have home advantage against lower league opposition. It's not something I'm a huge fan of. You see all the giant killings at lower league clubs in England in the FA Cup, but it's something we're going to take advantage of here. So we're going to see if that gets accepted. Hopefully we'll get a message regardless, and then we'll be back for the game and transfer deadline day in just a minute's time. We'll have a look at the schedule too to see how we've been getting on. Well, we're back for fitness test time ahead of this one, and we have had some struggles, particularly with match fitness. However, we've got a big return today because Rasmus Karjalainen, the man who was out for 6 months with a damaged neck at the start of the year, is now fit and can be there as our first choice backup striker. We're just going to ease him in this season, but a good player, a Finnish international, and quite versatile too, so he'll be involved. The other news, going back to the Swedish Cup tie, it has been switched, the offer accepted. I'm guessing for lower tier clubs, 9 grand is a decent sum of money. They'll get more from the ticket revenue as well as their share, so I can understand why they would do it. But it does obviously undermine the competition in the fact that you're less likely to get through then as well. But as we're here for fixture time, let's have a look at the schedule and see what's been going on since you were last with me. And it's not been brilliant, to be honest. We've dropped 5 points in our last 6 games, but it hasn't made a difference. In fact, we've got further ahead in the league. We have played some of the bottom sides. We have played a few of our reverse fixtures for the first time, but we've not been convincing. So you were with me as we drew with GIF and beat Van Armo. We did, though, then lose the following game, 2-0 away from home. Against Sodra, it was our first defeat of the season, and it was a really poor display. We didn't deserve anything from it, and the second goal scorer, Adnan Maric, is someone I recognise because he played for Swansea before, and we had him in one of our saves many years ago. I can't remember which one, but I've definitely managed him before on this channel. So Maric was the man who put us to the sword. We bounced back though against Vesteras with a 3-0 win. Lundberg, Al-Hamlawi who had to come in, and Tahar Ali got the goals. But you can see a few little injury concerns just creeping up on us there. And it told the next week as the side now in second place, Ersters, drew 0-0 at Helsingborg's Olympia Stadium. And to be honest, in that game, Vidal at the back and Lindegaard in goal, probably two of our best players, if not the best. So we were fortunate to get a point there. We then got back to the gritty 1-0 away wins at Braga. It was Vidal with an early set-piece goal too. A 2-0 win at home to Trelleborg, a repeat of our first fixture of the season. Tahar Ali and Kasper Vidal again. You can see how important the set-pieces are when we're not playing well. And then against bottom side, whipping boys Acropolis, we rested a few. We got away with it, as Lerper and Van den Herk gave us an early 2-0 lead. But considering how they've played this season, we didn't really put them to the sword convincingly. With the Cup coming up, we've now got some midweek fixtures to contend with, albeit they're spaced out pretty nicely. So hopefully, as we head into this one, we're going to be able to do a pretty good job. So let's get through to the fixtures. It's GAIS against Helsingborg. If they win this, they can move up to 5th place and back on the coattails of the promotion places. For us, though, it's a pretty good situation, isn't it? There's no pressure on us at all. So let's go and pick the lineup. I'm thinking we'll see a couple of returns today, and then we'll be back in a minute to run through the 11. As you can see, there's fitness struggles across the bench. So because we're not in too much of a pressure situation, I'm going to ease those who are returning to fitness back in. So Karjalainen and Henriksson both on the bench. It means our starting 11 is Anders Lindegaard in goal, who's had a really rock solid season. And we've had to rely on him at times as well, particularly in a lot of those 1-0s and the 0-0. A back four of Landgren, Davidson as the fullbacks with Weiberg and Vidal centre half. What a player this kid is turning into. A few of you said he's a real hot prospect in real life too. And he's looking it here. I think we're going to have a little star. And it certainly solves our centre-half problem for next season, because he's now the best rated one at the club. We've got Almaged in a holding role with Johnson deputising alongside Lingman in the middle. And then a front three of Lerper, Tahar Ali and Van den Herk up front. Lerper is the other star of the season. He's such a solid pro. And when we go up to the top tier, we've got to start figuring out now who's going to be able to make it. And while we're probably going to need new fullbacks, while we might by then need a new goalkeeper, we're certainly not going to need a centre-half or a right winger. So let's go and get into the game. 2 long-term returning injuries on the bench. A few other players coming back to fitness. An awful lot to get excited about for Helsingborg. But can we get the win to go with it? Deadline day on the way, but our attention is firmly on the pitch. Well, one of the more important points in the last couple of games where we have had improved performances and results is that we've been able to go back to naming the same 11 each game again. Something we did for the first 7 matches this season where we blew a few teams away. And now we're able to do it too with just the one player missing from the starting 11. But we are going to see a few changes today, particularly as the second half goes on. But what I'd like to do is have a lead by that point. So let's prove a point, get the lads motivated, and get into the first half in a very sparsely populated stadium. And for this side to have dropped from 2nd to 7th, they must be in awful form. So let's do our best to take advantage. And we're back with 5 minutes on the clock as the hosts are on the front foot down the left-hand side. Alex Anderson gets it back to Anderson, the left-back. They cut in here. Chance to shoot. There's not really much pressure. And Anders Lindegaard has to make a very good save up to his left-hand side. Does really good work there, the keeper. As he's playing out from the back now. Just a couple of minutes later to Weiberg. He's got an option on the left in Davidson. It's into midfield to Tahar Ali, who's already booked. I'm not sure how that came about. Weiberg into Almaged to Johnson. You can see the patient build-up still there in part as Lerper just goes back to his centre-half. There's no rush to try and get it forward, to get it in behind, because we don't have bags of pace. We don't have bags of quality on the ball. As Landgren finds Almaged. Back to Vidal and Landgren. It's one of those beautifully built up moves and hopefully it'll lead to something special as Tahar Ali goes from distance. Only his 4th goal of the season. He's been a bit disappointing in that role and I guess I'm trying to give him freedom in a team that's quite disciplined, which does make it hard. But he has been brilliant in the last 2 episodes on camera. A goal in the last one to settle a game, and here he might have done the same because quite often when we've scored early goals in this save, we've not then gone on to win the games by big margins. It's been 1 or 2-0 and we've had to hold on. So hopefully Lindegaard won't be too busy and fingers crossed Ali can have a special day at the office as Weiberg plays into Almaged. To Vidal again, we're going to see a lot of patient passing. It's preserving the fitness is really helping us late on in games as we don't run out of steam. Though we've given it away there as Lindberg cuts in from the left, finds his namesake in towards the front post. And it's a good save from Lindegaard. It was a really good effort at a finish, but that little bit of height just made it possible for the keeper to save. As Anderson's got the outswinging corner, flicked on at the front post and into the side netting. A very busy 10 minutes. We've not been the better side in terms of stats, but we lead by 1-0. And I'll take that all day long. Well, just over 10 minutes to the break, we're back with another corner for the host, which is headed over by Lindberg at the front post. We're really struggling to deal with it there. Having said that, as long as we've got the lead, I don't really mind, as Anderson throws in again. Gotta say, they've been the better side so far, and we're very fortunate to be ahead. It's just one moment of Tahar Ali magic as Lingman clears long. It's pretty aimless, it's straight to Grozdanic. He can play over halfway. Keeps the ball to Anderson on the left, where a lot of their threat seems to have come. Through to Alex Anderson, cutting in from that side. And it is 1-1. First goal of the season, the classic FM trait against the human player. But to be fair, they've deserved it. It's been a good performance. They've been the better team by far. We've scored our only shot. Our expected goals is 0.05. I don't think we can have any complaints. We're level at the break. I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. So let's get through the dressing room. We're going to tell the lads to prove a point again. They need to do a bit more than they did in that half. And we're back with a goal kick, or a free kick just outside the keeper's box. Vidal heads away again. He's so imposing back there. Lerper gets it to Van den Herk, beats the defender to it. Oh, it's almost 2 shots, 2 goals. Krasnicki saves with his left foot as it was trying to be snuck in at the near post there. It's brilliant goalkeeping in fairness, as it's a corner for Davidson. Will Vidal rise again? He's up there, but the corner doesn't quite reach him. Alex Anderson can counter. Where's the defence gone? They've got a 3-on-2. Vidal gets back, and Johnson is now covering on the right from Lindberg. He's forced him backwards. It's good defending, and we see it out. But with 5 minutes gone in the second half, there's some alarming patterns here. We might have to go a bit more positive, try and impose ourselves on this game. As we reach the hour mark, we're going to make some subs, because there's not many that can make a case for staying on here. Tahar Ali's got a poor rating despite his goal. That's got to be a concern. I'm going to bring Karjalainen on up front. I'm going to bring Lingman off, who's had a poor game for Hendrickson. If anything, that actually strengthens our midfield. And then Tahar Ali on the left, he can be replaced by Lundberg, who can cut in as that sort of inverted winger. Somewhere we've not really seen him play yet, although I could do it with Adam Qaid. I'm going to go for the youngster, because the position we're in the league, it would be rude not to. Half an hour to go, 3 changes made. Let's hope they have some sort of impact. We're just under 20 minutes to go. We've got some fitness concerns for our 2 stars, Lerper and Vidal. But for now, we're trying to chase the game as Qaid cuts in from the left. Out towards Lerper, who loses out in the air. Langren can bring it down though. He finds Lerper and back to the right back. Chance to cut back to Hendrickson. And Lerper, brought down for the penalty. It's a poor challenge. And it's a very good time for Hendrickson to have come on, because he is the star penalty taker. He's only missed 1 this season. Can he add to the score sheet? Can he give us the lead? You bet he can. Sends the keeper the wrong way. It's a fabulous pen into the top corner. 6th goal of the season for him. And although we've been better in the second half, we're very fortunate to have the lead overall. So we've got a free kick at the back here with Weberg and Davidson. Almajed into Hendrickson and Johnson. Now we've got that position with 15 to go where they're going to chase the game, the hosts. And if we can get in behind, we've got a chance to score 2 or 3. But generally we've not seen that this year, as it's a long ball forward by Lindegaard. Karjalainen's up on his return after 6 months out. Turns his man and shoots just wide of the post. We'll forgive him for that one. Maybe slightly rusty. Let's go and make the final 2 subs though. We're going to take off Lerper for Lundberg on the right. And at the back, do I take off Vidal? No, I'm going to take off Davidson, the left back, for Rursa. I'm going to leave it for the last 15. Fingers crossed we can cling on for 3 points. So it's a throw on the right for our host, right by the edge of the box as Anderson cuts into Lindberg. Turns onto his left foot to Jatta. Brilliant strike just wide. The keeper was panicking. He was scrambling across to his right-hand side. Thankfully, it just beat the post as well as him. But in the second half, our expected goals has now overtaken theirs. We're creating chances. It's been a much better performance. But as we're into stoppage time, we've put the time wasting on and it's worked. We win 2-1. It's another one of those. We're not blowing teams away, but we're doing the job. A penalty kick and an early bit of magic get the result. And we go 15 points clear with a game more played. But transfer deadline day's round the corner. So let's focus on that. I can't imagine much happening because I'd like to save it for the Premier League now. But we'll be back in a moment for the day itself. See if we get any tempting offers for any of our stars. Well, it's deadline day. We're not in a league, funnily enough, in a Swedish second tier where we get the big razzmatazz about deadline day. But we have got some transfer news to get through. And we start with some work done earlier in the window and some that may be getting done later in the day. There's a youngster that offers are going in for that we probably won't have. The third goalkeeper, Alexander Nilsson, may be leaving. £60,000 is good money to raise for someone who's probably never going to get a game for us. There's a goalkeeping coach for the reserves potentially coming in. There's loan offers for Benjamin Aqua, but there is one that's already joined the club. That man, just a youngster that's been bid for by the director of football, Matteo Comare, is a free transfer signing. 19-year-old French defender. He's not bad. And the reason that I'm happy for him to join is because he's got big potential. So generally when the director of football has made these bids, I've just looked for the ones that can be stars. He's a right back, he's a centre half, he's decent and solid across the board. I can't see a reason not to have him. He's come through the Lyon and the Auxerre Academy, so we'll see how he gets on while he's here. In terms of the squad itself though, I am trying to loan out this guy, Asad Al-Hamlawi. He was wanted, now no one's coming in for him. But that's just because we've got Karjalainen back. And as fourth choice in a position where we only play one, I don't want to hold the youngster back. And he is fairly decent. So if we can loan him out and get him some football elsewhere, I think he could become a little bit of a star. The rest of the squad probably stay largely as it is. So let's get through deadline day, see if anything else happens. I'd imagine the keeper will leave, but let's see if there's any surprise ins. The director of football, it's over to you. Well, no offers still for Al-Hamlawi. However, I would like to go back to a little bit of staffing news. If we go back to straight after the game we played at the weekend, we got a new staff member. That man was Johan Svan. He joins as reserves assistant manager, which does add to the coaching team for the first team as well. So it is important that we've got good reserve staff. Johan Svan was brought in by the director of football, Andreas Grankvist. We didn't have a say. However, he's not too bad for this level. Maybe not the judgment that you want from an assistant or someone in the managerial team, but good tactical knowledge, good man management, and crucially at this level, some decent coaching attributes too. He's only 33, he retired to take this job, so I think he could be someone who can connect with the players and maybe be helpful to the development of the youngsters. Well, here's a deal that's both good for the club and shows the fragile financial situation. Our third choice goalkeeper, Alexander Nilsson, who was in the reserves when we got here, has agreed to join Elfsborg for £50,000. They're in the top tier in Sweden. He might even be first choice there. I don't know what the difference is in terms of level. We'll have to have a look. But he's going to the top tier. 50 grand up front, 10 grand more if he plays 20 games, and the all-important sell-on clause that I try to add to every deal. But we're only getting 10 grand of it to the transfer budget. And I'm trying not to spend now because we need to protect this club financially. For a third choice keeper though, this is a great deal. Let's accept that and see if he's first choice there or not, because it will give us an indicator of how well we're going to do next season. Well, we're back to check that out, but I can also see that Grankvist has made an offer. Let's see if it's a first teamer or not. Nilsson, are you first choice at Elfsborg? You are a backup. Okay, so the league's not going to be as weak as we think. Surely it'll be a little bit tougher now as a result of that. Let's have a look at who the offer's gone in for though. Oh, it's a new third choice goalkeeper. What a surprise. He's not very good. I mean, we've got youngsters in the academy that are that good, so why bring him in? We're going to reject this one for Loan Maveli because, again, he's not got the potential to be good enough. So we're going to reject that. We'll reject the one for the goalkeeper when that comes through, and we just wait for that moment of gold dust that probably won't come, in truth. Well, the goalkeeper's been rejected. We've now got a loan offer for Ravi Zukar, who did want to leave on loan, but it's only £100, which is 10% of his wages being paid each week. They're asking about future fees. They give him money after league appearances, but I don't want to lose him permanently. I don't really want to pay most of his wages while he's playing somewhere else, so I'm going to reject that too. It's 2 p.m, and things are not looking good at the minute. No sign of anyone coming in, and the offers for players out, not the ones I want, and not good enough either. Another goalkeeper offer, this time 19-year-old Simon Matsiak. Let's have a look at him. He's not good enough. I'm not having that. We'll cancel that deal. There are more loan offers for Zuka. Again, not enough of the wages being covered. And there's a 19-year-old that we're being suggested to look at. Not good enough for the first team now. I don't really want to make any squad level purchases till the end of the season, because if we do that, we're only going to need to replace them again when we step up to the higher level. And I'd imagine we'll have a wider pool of players to choose from and hopefully a better budget as well. So I'm not going to get carried away for now. Has to be a superstar if anyone's going to come in. Well, another goalkeeper offer, this time a 27-year-old who's even worse, so we're not going to do that. But then an interesting one, a loan offer for Karjalainen. I was going to say interesting if they wanted him to be first team, because we then could have kept Al-Hamlawi and maybe got Cargeline and some football, but with it being 20% of his wages and only as a squad player, then no, that's definitely not going to work. We've only got a few hours to go here. I don't think there's going to be much else. Well, 45 minutes to go. We've had goalkeeper offers galore. We've had loan offers for Zuka, which are still pathetic wage contributions. However, this one is a problem. Now, not because we're going to sell him, because we're not. It's a pathetic offer. If we go up, we'll get 7 figures for him easy, and probably from somewhere else in Europe. However, at the moment, we know, and we've seen it in our other saves, particularly Hemel in recent episodes, that if you reject an offer from one of the bigger clubs in the divisions or in the league system, you're going to be in big trouble in terms of morale. And Kasper Vidal is not really someone we can afford to turn. He's not got that long left on his contract. It's only 1.25 years. So we're going to have to be quite careful with this. I'm going to try and negotiate it up to a silly level so they withdraw. And then hopefully he'll be able to keep his relationship with us, because we don't want him unhappy the rest of the year. So let's just get this up to £1 million. We'll put these two up to 500 grand. And we'll bring in a next sell-on clause of 50%. Because that is a silly offer then. 2 million quid is ridiculous. So let's suggest that they've withdrawn. Hopefully there's no repercussions, but it's a worry that the side sitting towards the top of the top tier, one of the favourites for the title, is making that sort of offer on deadline day. Mikhail is another keeper we're going to reject. I think that'll be the end of the day, but what's Vidal's state of mind going to be like? Well, the transfer window has passed, is not open again until January, when hopefully we'll be a top tier side. In terms of the biggest spenders, £12,000 gives you an indicator of how little money there is in this league. 20 players out for Acropolis, who are bottom of the league. 20 players in for Braga. That can't be right. Where are they bringing 20 players from? Oh, so that's including the winter window. It's been closed in between. That doesn't make sense. So they didn't actually bring any players in last month. Swedish transfer window roundup. Malmo, the biggest spenders in the top tier. There's some big moves going about. However, we're going to skip ahead just one more click to see if Vidal's unhappy, because at the moment there's nothing. Hopefully it will stay that way. Maybe he understands that we're on the rise. Well, the good news is I've got to the next afternoon and there's nothing from Vidal. The bad news is we've just lost our holding midfielder for 2 months. A broken collarbone for Almajed, and he's been a real solid rock at the back of that team. So we're going to send him to the specialist. 6 to 7 weeks and more money down the drain. But let's have a look at the schedule for when Minet's going to be back. I kind of want to fly through this season because I know there's not really much to play for other than potentially a cup if we can get a lucky draw and see us lift the title. So for now, my plan is to come back at some point around the end of September where we play GIF, who of course are flying under their new manager and are the favourites for promotion at the start of the season. But if we get a big Swedish Cup title, we'll come back for that. Will we perhaps be on the other side of that offer for turning to home advantage? If we draw, say, Malmo at home, will they come and say, actually, we want to swap grounds with you? And will the offer be financially enticing? We'll have to wait and see. But if you did enjoy this episode, a quiet deadline day, a concern that some of the big sides are sniffing around our star players, but also a crucial victory in the race for the title despite not playing that well, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content. Let me know as the season goes on, where do you think we're going to need to improve to compete in the top tier? Or is the squad just so good for the level that we're going to be able to fly up and do really well? In the meantime, we'll be back with Hemel Hempstead Town tomorrow. You can find that series up in the eye above, as well as the head coach, the Twitch channel, the football podcast, and the merchandise store too. But thank you for watching as always. Above my head now is a crucial recent Hemel episode, so do give that one a try if you haven't already. I'll see you again here in a couple of days' time.